Well, we're back for another one of our 12 Days of KRUXmas conversations, and I know it's a wonderful, wonderful title. You can't see this, but Ydi is just laughing at me. Just taking a few minutes to chat with Ydi. I don't want to steal the attention, so I'll just pass it over to you. If you just want to briefly introduce yourself, I'm sure many of the people who would listen will know who you are. But if there's anything, just what you'd like to share in introducing yourself.
So, like Tyler mentioned, my name is Ydi, which is a funny name and spelled in a weird way, but it derives from, I think, a biblical name in the Old Testament, which is Ada, A-D-A, which is one of those rare, obscure names in the Old Testament. And then it became Ada with a Y, Y-D-A. And then my parents decided to make it like a diminutive, so that's why it's Ydi. So that's where that comes from. And I'm an artist. I've been making art for as long as I can remember. As a kid, as a child, it's really what I enjoyed doing. Up until high school. It's just where I found, I guess, myself relaxing the most and enjoying myself the most. And when you go to those schools, psychology people, and they tell you what to go study, or they do some tests.
Sure.
And then when she told me you have to go study art, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll probably have to study art.
If I must.
If I must. Because I had some reservations, simply because I thought I was too normal to go study art. I didn't dress funny and also I come from a very artistic family, so everyone's talented in the family. Everyone can draw and paint. I didn't think I had a special gift. I just thought that's what people do. So I had some reservations, but ended up studying art for 4 years and then went on continuing to do a master's in art, and that I was lucky also to publish in the South African Journal of Art History. So that was a quite cool experience. And what else? I'm an artist. I'm also a pastor's kid.
I have a couple of those myself.
So. Okay. Yes, you do.
Yep.
I grew up. So my dad, when he went to seminary back in the 70s, they kind of chose the bit of the uncharted path of going into the mission church. So he didn't study to be a Dutch Reformed pastor to a white church. Mm-hmm. He went into what was then the mission church, which was the coloured and the black segment of the Dutch Reformed church. So he served in that community for like 30 odd years. Mm-hmm. So we kind of grew up being the only white people in our church and in our Sunday school, and very vibrant, lively community. So church was much more than just hour on a Sunday. It was very much our culture and our life growing up. So I guess that formed me in a large way. Just always very aware of politics, interested in kind of socioeconomics, interested in people and their stories, and also just interested in the working class, and how society functions, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's been a real privilege, I think.
Did your father serve in the same congregation?
He did. He did,
term?
Yeah. So
okay.
It's kind of two communities, but preaching both, and that made that he kind of did the child baptisms, and then the confirmation, and then the weddings, and then the funerals of the same people over 30 odd years, which is pretty amazing. And it also means people in the church saw us growing up. I still, when I go to town and go to a shop, someone random would stop me and say, "Oh, you're Dominie's daughter, and how are you, and how's your brothers?" And so there's a sense of being known in the community, and really of your parents being loved and known, because they've been there so long and they've kind of witnessed everyone's lives.
Yes.
And the number of weddings and stuff he's done is insane. It's like in the thousands.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. No, but there's something special. I mean, there is the fact that often I think pastors have to move from congregation to congregation, receive a call somewhere, or really feel pulled to go somewhere different. But there's something really special about being in that same sort of setting with the same people, a community, for such a long period of time.
We did move house though a few times, so we stayed in a pastorie, which was first in town, and then moved to Idis Valley, and then moved from there to Cluttersville. And so we kind of stayed in different parts of town, which was also quite cool, but yes, mainly in the same community.
Yeah. And before I ask you about KRUX, maybe just to ask about your family.
Oh yeah, I'm married to August, who's an outdoor adventure person, very outside of the box. We've been married for about 7 years, and then we've got 3 kids. Daniel is 3 years old, and then we have twins, Joshua and Lydia. They're about 5 months old. They were a complete surprise because no one in the family had twins, but we're enjoying them so much. So yeah, we're a family of 5, which is very large.
it suddenly makes the house feel a bit more full, huh?
Yes, we're lucky that we got like an old, nice 1970s house that's got plenty of rooms, and but I like large families. My own family is very tight. I've got 2 brothers, so I come from a family of 5, but also our extended family, cousins, uncles, aunts, all very close, all very much, in a way, also faith communities. Both my mom's and my dad's families, like the adults, definitely all played a part in my own faith upbringing, and my cousins, and we're all kind of similar ages, studying together, and so love big family with lovely like family holidays and Christmases, and we're all witnessing to each other's lives and kind of playing a role, so that's very special.
Well, thanks for sharing. And that leads us then into how you found your way into KRUX, or into that community, right? Speaking of different types of communities, right? So that church community, the family as a community, and then KRUX.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it a little bit, because I had to get my dates right. It's been so long. So I think I was introduced to KRUX in 2016 at the first artist gathering that I attended. I think the very first one was in 2015, so that was already the second year. And by that stage, I had finished my master's, which I also did a part of it in East Africa, which was very significant to me. So I was an exchange student there in Uganda for a while. Came back, finished my master's, worked in a gallery for a year where I tried to learn the ropes and kind of network with artists, and which was also a very cool experience. Then, let me think. There was also, I think 2014 was a really, really bad year for me. I'd gotten an injury, and just on top of some other things, health issues, I was kind of told that I'd never be able to hike again, which is one of my big loves apart from art, is being in the mountains. And I was kind of on crutches for about 6 months. I had to park on the disabled parking. And I think for someone in your 20s, it was just a really big blow. that on top of some other things. It was really a very long kind of depressive episode. Lasted like a year. I had to move back with my parents. Things were looking really dark and bleak that year. And then in 2015, things kind of gradually improved. In 2015, I went to Libri in England, also to go sort out some of the faith questions I had. And for those who don't know, Libri is a community that was started by Francis and Edith Schaeffer, and it was basically, the French word means the shelter, and it's basically a home community environment where you can come, if you're a Christian, come ask hard questions, come express your doubts and do some research and talk to people, and it's just a safe place for people of faith. Anyway, so then I went there in 2015, went to go, just figure out some stuff for myself. And at that stage, I also left my job at the gallery because I felt that the pay was just absolutely ridiculous. And I didn't get time for my own art, so I was so frustrated. So I decided I'm going to take the leap, quit my day job and try to do art. Wasn't married at that stage, so I was really just trying to find my own feet as an artist, trying to survive financially and otherwise. And I think, just coming out of quite a bad patch where I was finally feeling a bit more confident and trying to figure out what is life about, where am I heading next. And then, someone sent me an email, I think it was Stella from the department, advertising this arts gathering, and I just, from the blurb, I just knew I wanted to go. It was completely just hit the spot. So I went there. I met Heidi and James and Wesley van der Lucht and some of the other just really significant people in my life. So that weekend, I think, really changed my life, or altered the direction of my life. And for the first time, I felt part of a faith community that was also kind of a vocational community with the arts. And I remember also going to James at that stage had a small theological group that went in the library of postgrad theology students, and they met once a week for a little seminar and just spoke about the Bible, talked about the Bible. So then I kind of realized I was like the only artist there, and I realized, I really like hanging around with theologians. So that also, I think, just drew me in further to KRUX, and eventually became involved, started organizing the gathering myself, and it's just been absolute lifesaver, and it's a wonderful thing to be part of.
And maybe that relates, or what you've said maybe answers this a little bit, but why do you what is not necessarily unique, but what is important, or like what do you value about that community, right? And that space, right?
Sure. I think Corley has called it once it's a community of credibility, something like that. So what I felt like, it's a faith community that's you don't only spend that time with people on a Sunday at a church service, you spend it in the week or on a weeknight or at a weekend, and spending time with people when their guard is down, gives you a good sense of how credible their faith is, and being drawn into that hospitality of these people are really like Christians in the comprehensive sense of the word, or like holistically. That's quite, I think, special. So I felt authenticity. I felt my need or hunger for like intellectual stimulation and just conversations and meeting new people and meeting interesting people. All of that is fulfilled, and yeah, it's just also a lot of fun. It's a very lively, it's a very fun community to be part of. It's not, I think you do get kind of intellectual kind of communities that are very bland. And this is not one of them. So I've also always felt that there's a big, place for humor and for wit and for just not taking ourselves too seriously. So that's a very special part of it.
No. Moving us to just this year now. I don't know if you have one or two sort of highlights or anything that for you stood out this year with whether it's talks or seminars or the artist gathering or anything. Just any highlights from the year.
The gathering, I only managed to attend 2 days of the 3, but those were very, very nice to attend. Really enjoyed Mark Manal was the keynote speaker. We had a chapel service on Sunday that was just wonderful. He used poetry and music to do a kind of a reflection on the Lord's Supper, and it was so powerful and soulful. So that really, that one will stick with me. I think I will remember those poems, and that was something quite special. Jürgen's talk about DIY, I quite like that one. I'm drawn to it because I love working with my hands. When I'm not painting, we do a lot of DIY in the house. Of my 3 brothers, I'm probably the most practical. So I would be the one to grab the hammer and nail some stuff on the wall rather than them. Which I think I probably got from my dad. We spent a lot of time as kids, just doing stuff, making stuff, building stuff, learning how to mix cement, learning to weld, do stuff like that, a little bit of woodwork. At one stage I made my own frames, and so I was drawn to Jürgen's talk about working with your hands and kind of what that means for your faith. That was a nice one.
And I think remembering that talk, I think being reminded of the way in which often you have to strip things away. You have to sort of take it down to its, bare bones to then sort of build into it again. And I remember we were talking a bit about that way it mirrors the biblical sort of story, right? You have the sort of fallen, broken state that comes about, and then the work of redeeming it, right?
Yes.
And renewal.
Yes.
So,
and how every project is kind of taking part in that restoration of things, even if it's an old car or working in the garden. You're busy co-creating with God in a way just to make things new, to make things beautiful.
Thinking of making things, is there anything you're working on right now, or maybe have recently worked on that you just want to share about, or
it actually ties in with that. So I haven't been making lots of new paintings. I haven't had a lot of time, but I've been playing with the idea of making my paintings of buildings more building-like. So also because we've got this old house, and we've been doing some restoration work on the house, there's cracks in the walls, so then you start opening up the cracks with the Ydi, then you have to dust all the dust out, then you have to fill it in with polyfiller and paint it. Anyway, so that very gritty working with buildings, I feel like that needs to be translated into my art. And it's almost a surreal experience for me. Working on the building feels like I'm inside a painting because I paint the buildings. So I also, when I paint, I use scratching. I scratch away at things, and I use sandpaper, and I use I like the texture of kind of mechanical tools and things.
Mm-hmm.
So my most recent experiment is to mix in grout powder with my paint, and then making a kind of a putty with it. So the oil painting then becomes more like cement-like. Or I've also tried using, I think it's polyfiller powder. It's like a industrial kind of powder, and I'm curious to see what will happen to the paint texture. I have seen this done before. It's not an original idea, but to kind of implement those real building materials into the painting surface and see what can come of that, or what will happen to the painting process. So that's kind of where I'm at, what I'd like to experiment with when I have the time.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think about how to formulate the question, but whether it's about that in particular or more broadly just your work that you have done. So what do you feel like you gain from it, right? In the sense of, what does it tell you about yourself or about the world or about God? I think it's very interesting, right? You make, and this is any artist, right? You make particular choices because you want to accomplish something, or you want to try something. You're experimenting, you're learning. So I guess the question is, so what have you been learning about yourself or God or otherwise?
Sure. I think all art, I read somewhere that kind of all art in a way is about problem solving. So often you as an artist, you set your own challenge, you set your own problem, and then you go about solving it. So for Gustav Klimt, it would be a different problem than for, I don't know, Rembrandt. Rembrandt might ask, how do I best express this theological truth in a figurative drawing?
Sure. And
setting out then to best accomplish that thing. I wonder what would be my problem statement, or my kind of, what do I attempt to do with my art. I think sometimes that follows from doing this stuff already. So I feel like I'm compelled to do certain things without understanding why, and only afterwards do you reflect on it and see, oh, this was what I was trying to solve, or this was the puzzle that I was trying to piece together, and this might be the reason. So I definitely learn. It's a learning process to me. It's not like I know something and then I want to communicate that through the art. The art is teaching me while I'm making it, and teaching me about God and about my place in the world, teaching me about people. I think all the things I'm passionate about, teaching me about society, how society works. These buildings I paint, I feel like they speak to me about many different things, about the material world, about decay and restoration. They speak to me about presence and absence. They talk about kind of belonging and alienation, and God's presence in the material world, or his interest in it, and then kind of embodiment. All of those themes, it's almost like I'm chewing on them while I'm making art, and the pieces talk back to me, and they help me, I hope, gain wisdom about the world and make me make me a more sensitive human, a more loving person. And I think you pour in love into your work, because that dedication and that attention that you give it doesn't come easy or naturally necessarily. There's like a big part of discipline that you kind of that you pour into the work.
Yeah.
And through that act of commitment and love, I think the work then loves you back in a weird way. And I think it's also a good discipline for loving people. So the time I spent with solving a problem in the specific painting, like where should this color go, or is this texture right, trying to love that into being could also teach me something about loving humans and loving community and loving the broken and the messy people around me and myself, to kind of find ways of restoring that and reconciling that and bringing beauty in the world.
No, I think when you were sharing about being compelled to do it, and not necessarily knowing what the statement or the point in a sense is, until maybe later, just made me think of that it's a great analogy for how we live, right? We recognize that all of life is lived, in the presence of God, and yet so much of life we engage in things, we do things, and we don't necessarily understand why is this happening, or why must I do this, or where is this going to lead me? And then looking back, sometimes we get answers. Yes. And other times we don't. Yes. But we're changed, regardless of whether we get the answers. We find that something has been produced or something has happened. So anyways, I think that to me is just a really great analogy of thinking about of faith from how you talked about engaging in the art, the process. Just to wrap up, is there anything else you would like to share or say? Anything you'd want to just make known to the community, right? This is your moment to. I'm not the one sort of with a question now. You can just spout about whatever.
Oh gosh, I do feel like I think on my heart is almost this need to ask people to slow down. I just hear how busy people are and how rushed things are, and I know it doesn't seem very possible, but I think saying no to things and simplifying your life, we've felt like in the last few years, also because I'm home with the kids now, and your pace of life, although you're very busy, your pace of life is quite slow and very analog. So it's eating, sleeping, cleaning up, very physical, very non-digital, very much the season where I'm in now. I spend almost no time sitting down behind a computer, and it's been really enriching, I think, and healthy, and I feel just compelled to encourage others to kind of live in the real world, I guess, to get your hands dirty, to garden, to spend time with the material world more than the digital world. Although it obviously has its place, and I even use it for my art sometimes, some software and things. But I do feel there's a massive imbalance in the way the amount of time we spend virtually, digitally, versus the time we spend in our own bodies, engaging with real people. Yes. So for me, that would be children, and actually caretaking of children. I read a very nice article the other day just about how we're called to care for those close to us, where what I see is a lot of us caring about a lot of big causes that are very far away from us, and becoming very activist about stuff that's far away. But when last did you actually take a meal to someone, your neighbor? Or when last did you offer to babysit your neighbor's kids or your friends? And that act of materially caring for people close to you geographically, I think has gone lost. We're so passionate about all these things that are far away from us, but maybe redirect some of that passion into your own community, your own messy people around you, or just really making time to have meals with people, to spend time with them in nature, to I don't know, and spend time with kids. Kids are good for us. They ground us. So
Yes.
I guess that would be on my heart.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to chat with us and be a part of the series that we're doing. And I just hope that, like the others in the series, that it's a useful way of fostering some conversation, some reflection. So again, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.